Good evening, you filthy perverts. How's it going, everybody? It's me, Comic Crack, and I'm here with Comic Book Manifesto. Colin is with us tonight, and one thing that I miss that Colin and I did a few times on my channel and on his old channel is just kind of hanging out and talking books that we picked up. I have zero. But we were talking about it, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I guess, on the Sunday stream.
Yeah.
And chatting about it on Twitter. The kind of tell us the story. I guess we're talking about smutty books. So as usual, get your kids out of bed, gather them around the screen. Let's look at some boobies together. So kind of tell us the backstory. Hello, Colin. By the way, hello.
Hello, Terrence. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. So why don't you tell us a bit of the backstory of this the mother lode that you found here?
Yeah, I'm always jealous because every time you hit some rich vein of comics in one of your many shops you have.
Yeah, I prefer to call them the throbbing
the
vein of adult comics. Yeah,
that's right. And and for once that happened to me. My regular shop, shout out Arcane Comics, in Shoreline, Washington, just north of Seattle. They got in a big collection of early 90s stuff.
Amazing.
Some of it mainstream. Yeah. Some of it independent and some of it just smut. And so they had a full run of Cherry Pop-Tart. They had which some other guy went for. Anyway, they just had like a box full of this stuff. And then come to find out they had another box in back that they just have. And it's tough because unless somebody comes in and says, hey, do you have dirty comics?
Yeah.
Nobody sees it, Right. So once they saw me going through that other collection, they handed me the other box, and I went and so I picked out the stuff I wanted, and they've been sort of just pricing it up as they have time, which is fine for me because it spreads out the cost a little bit. I don't have to, go in there to get a bunch of shit at one time. But I did a recent video on Casey Jones. It's a 2-issue miniseries from Mirage by Rick H. and Kevin Eastman. That was from that collection too.
Oh shit, yeah.
So so it was just like random stuff. And so actually the first stuff I pulled to show you actually wouldn't go under the category necessarily of dirty books, though does have some nudity in it. But it was a little vein of pretty hard to find stuff. These Dave Coopers.
Oh shit.
Yeah, from I'm trying to remember, from North Star.
Yeah.
And so these first two are Puke and Explode.
Amazing.
Yeah, mentioned in the Crumb documentary as they're in a comic shop or whatever, and Crumb's like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
So
I have the first issue, but I've never come across the second issue. It seems that it's just not out there.
Yeah, these are just, I mean North Star. Am I right in thinking that's the Tim Vigil outfit?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. So you would think the print runs would have been halfway decent. It's from November 91, so it's before the crash.
Right.
So here's from the second issue since you had the first. Yeah, I mean, and this stuff is a real good bridge between the Dave Cooper Aircell stuff, which looks great, I think, and then he's even better here.
Totally.
And then by the time he gets, working for Fantagraphics and doing painting and stuff, he's just on a whole other level.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's just ink all over the pages here.
Oh man, so good.
Yeah, and this cover is just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I think you nailed it. Like this, it's a really good transition time of his stuff. Like that really ups the bar because I enjoy most of the Aircell stuff. There's a few things that leave a little less to be desired, but I mean, for the most part, it's damn good. But that Puke and Explode issue that I have, like, it's gorgeous looking stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean all the Aircell stuff is all the stories are all terrible,
right?
But at least he's super talented, makes it good to look at. Better than a lot of the Barry Blair stuff, which all looks the same.
Yeah.
This one, here's a 2-issue. So it says it's a 3-issue series, Chronic Idiocy.
Oh shit! Hold that up again. Let's see.
Sure. Sorry.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely in the same vein, same time. And it says it's a 3-issue series, but as near as I can tell, there's only 2 issues.
Right.
But of course, who knows? There could be a third one out there, and maybe my comic shop never came across it.
Right.
Hard to believe, but as you know, that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you say that's 91 as well? Is that the same time frame?
Yeah, it's well, this is from Caliber.
Oh, this is Caliber, yeah.
Yeah, well, let's see what this issue 2. Yes. Yeah, they're both from Caliber, and it's the trying to see where the year is. 91. So pretty much the exact same time. Nice. So he was really, and definitely like on this cover, the girlfriend looks just like the girlfriend from Puke Could Explode.
Right.
So I think he definitely had a style going, but a little brighter, you know.
Yeah.
This seems more like a kind of slacker comic instead of Puke Could Explode gets pretty fucking nuts, actually.
Yeah.
By the end. And then this last one is cool. I actually have 2 more. Pressed Tongue. Another great
wow,
cover.
Look at that. That is Dave Cooper lettering at the top there. Right. That is classic lettering.
Yeah. And the cartooning almost reminds me of like Jim Woodring, like early Woodring.
Wow.
You can kind of see he's working his way through himself.
Right.
But I mean, look at this.
Oh, dude.
Right?
What?
I mean, the art is crazy. This one's published. Oh, this is a Fantagraphics book.
Fantagraphics, and,
it's from 94. So a few years later. But by now, his cartooning is just incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's just drawing the shit out of everything on these pages. I mean, these are just like domestic pages, but, you know, they just pop off. With the borders as well. That I mean, love this this character. Well, sorry, trying to figure out which hand I'm using. But like this, the sweating guy in the bed, you know, like and the guy at the bottom with the big nose, you know. Just he's definitely getting into his sort of like monstrous bodily fluid phase.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this one's from Iconic. So 4 different companies here. And this was, God, his lettering does not make it easy to find out what year this shit's from. Oh, well, whatever. So this is probably in the middle of those. So here he's drawing a bit more, lightens up, you know, not quite as dark. This one's called A Big Someplace, and this is issue 2. I don't have issue 1, and this was supposed to be in full color, but at the top here it says, due to financial considerations, this issue is not in full color. So, see if there's anything kind of interesting here. Oh, here you go. With your theme.
Hey, there you go, beauty. Perfect. Excellent work.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, very fun. I love Dave Cooper of all eras, and I didn't really have anything from that era, you know, because like you said, you just don't see them. You're just it's dumb luck to come across this stuff.
Absolutely.
Even to find it on finding it on eBay is hard, you know, like so.
And it's honestly it's the Aircel stuff that I see all the time. It's very, very rare that I see anything else. It's always that Aircel, or then I find like little books and collections of like way, way, way later, like, you know, closer to where we are now kind of years, you know, but
sure.
That's cool. And Iconic Graphics is pretty great. I've got a couple from them as well.
Yeah. It's a company I just found out about kind of last year, and it's hard to find their stuff. I don't know. It's I think they were a Seattle company. You know, there were a bunch of Seattle companies in the early 90s. So I should try to do a little more research on that and find out maybe who was behind that.
I'll pull the ones out that I had. I want to say it's them that did. There's this record label Skin Graft, and I think it was an Iconographics. I think it was on Iconographics that had 2 issues of Skin Graft, and it was this an artist, I think Mark Fisher, I want to say, a couple of people that were musicians but also artists, and then they took all of that comic making to Skin Graft, the record company, when they launched that, because in their 7 inches it usually comes, it's comic book and record kind of sets is what they would do a lot, with like noise rock, 90s kind of rock, bands like Shellac they appeared on like an AC/DC tribute and et cetera. So I think those Skin Graft books came out on Iconographics, but I might be mixing up names there.
That sounds right. This one I won't go over too much because I know you've shown this off on your channel, which is actually why I bought it.
Beauty.
Good purple pictography.
So
yeah, and this is another one that it's an Eros book, so it's really hard to find. But yeah, you've shown this off before, so anyone watching your channel has probably seen it. But
it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful looking book. So glad I got it. It's a strange mix of artists, Vaughn Bodē and Bernie Wrightson. So
yeah, it sure is. I think the story was like Wrightson eventually got tired of drawing that stuff, and he kind of backed out, I think was the story.
Is that what happened?
Something like that.
I was wondering if Wrightson did more stuff like this.
Yeah.
Here it says so. Bernie nearly OD'd on the tits and ass cartoons. He couldn't stand it. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
What a weakling. So this one, I don't know if you've come across this before. Images of Omaha.
Yes, I have that one. Yeah.
You have that? Yeah. So I like Omaha the Cat Dancer. I like Cerebus, who's on the cover. Olivia doing the back cover, pretty crazy.
Beauty.
So yeah, this is just a pinup book, but definitely a snapshot of the time. Here's like the guy from Hepcats doing stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to see if there's anything else of real interest here, but I got this. Oh, here's a Roberta Gregory,
Beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah, nothing too fancy, but this is another one. This is the second issue, and coming across a copy's common. I had the first one already, so but I've been looking for the second one for a long time.
Omaha is a surprisingly good read too. Like I haven't read all of the issues. I read a chunk of them when I first grabbed them. They're surprisingly good. I liked them a lot. Like actual legitimate kind of storytelling, with obviously the TNA and all that too. But it was pretty good. Yeah,
it's the sort of thing I think people look at it now kind of sideways. And they're like, "What is this furry animal comic?" And she's a stripper and everything else. But but at the time I think it made sense, right? This woman's writing it, and it's and you're right, like it's a quality comic. I mean, it's not Mouse or something, but but it's a lot better than it needed to be, right? I mean,
that's right.
It could have just been tits and ass, so
yeah, absolutely.
So this is an odd one. I don't know if you've ever seen this one before. This is so it's Fanny Hill #1, published by Shunga Comics. You ever seen
Never seen it. No, never.
Yeah, me neither. So the artist is a guy named Ted Esterling. And I don't know, like the proportions are right. So I think it's in a North American comic.
Okay.
But it doesn't take long to get into the nitty gritty here,
Yeah.
So Fanny Hill is a, kind of body novel written in I think the 1700s.
Right.
So this is the adaptation, and, the art isn't spectacular. But, when I saw the name Shunga Comics and kind of thought, well, this might be the only thing I ever see by this company, I'm going to try it out. And check out this ad at the back for sushi
Sushi. Oh, yes.
Speaking of furry stuff,
I love sushi.
Yeah. So looks like they were out of Michigan. So let's see what year it is. 91. So
holy shit.
Yeah, a little late for this kind of thing, but
yeah.
But maybe not for it being, I guess this kind of thing turned into smut at a certain point, you know?
Right.
Probably not too many of the 86 guys were doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oddity, never heard of this at all.
No, that's very cool.
Here's 2 issues. I don't know if it ran any longer. This is Love Bites.
Okay, look at that. That's Eros as well, eh?
Yeah, they're Eros.
Yeah.
Let's see who the artist is on this. It's been a while since. I love how
you're an appropriate age, Scott Connor. You can come on in. It's fine. You're
very
welcome.
True. Very true. It's time you learned.
Yeah.
I love how these Eros comics are better designed than they really needed to be. Just good graphic design in them. Neil Vokes was kind of a mainstream artist. I'm trying to think of what he did that anybody out there would know or care about. I'm not really coming up with much. And this looks weird. It looks like it came from the pencils, maybe in some spot.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah, so it's an odd looking comic. It's not great, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, pretty much anything that's Eros, if it's affordable, I'm going to go for it, you know.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Scott is saying that he met Neil Vokes a couple of times, several years back at Heroes Con. Yeah.
I know he did some art on some of that Kirby stuff that Topps Comics published.
Okay. Yep.
You know what I mean? So he was one of those guys. He was just sort of peripheral guy. He wasn't like a big name or anything, but I definitely recognize the name. I had no idea he did anything for Eros. But I love in these old ones how they have these ads for all this stuff, and it's all stuff you've never heard of, or not all that you've never heard of, but there's always something you haven't seen before, you know?
That's right.
You know, and like here's, you know, 2 Frazetta comics, you know? Yeah, so it's just kind of cool stuff. Or Atomic Truck Stop Waitresses, you know? So anyway.
Yeah.
This last one I thought you might know, since these are technically undergrounds.
Jive. Good Jive. Yeah.
You have these?
No, I don't have both of them. I think I've just got the one, the red lettered one.
Yeah, which is the only one I ever knew about. I didn't even know there was a 2. I mean, that's a very provocative cover, you know?
Yeah.
Claims there's going to be a number 3 coming. I don't know if that's actually true. But yeah, so Grass Green doing this. He's got that kind of Archie style. He's an interesting creator because none of his stuff ever seemed like it fit in with the underground at all, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He definitely stood out a bit because it was a much cleaner style.
Yeah. And he's almost like Kirby meets Archie. And then, you know, he had superheroes and, but yeah, so nothing too special here, you know. That I will say I have the same rule with undergrounds, which is basically affordable. I pretty much go for it if I don't have them. So, just because a lot of them you never know if you're going to ever see them again.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a good strategy. Have you come across any Eros at your time in Fanta there? Do they still have boxes filled with stuff to flip through?
Yeah. I haven't gotten a chance to dig through issues yet. I'm just like finishing up the foreign material, you know. But I have seen boxes that say Eros, and I have taken a glance at some of the shelves, and there's a whole shelf, like a shelf and a half, that's just that kind of stuff.
Amazing.
So I'm really looking forward to getting to see what's there that I've never heard of.
Right.
Yeah, because there were several things just looking at them. I'm like, oh, I don't know what that is, you know. So yeah.
Yeah,
and
make sure
also
you
it's not.
pick Gary's brain about it too. Like, so tell me the story about all these there. What the hell were you thinking?
He'll probably just be like, "Yeah, I just signed off on it, and that's it."
Yeah, yeah,
And just,
yeah.
won't care at all. But yeah, the cool thing about their library is it's not just Fantagraphics. So
Okay.
there's all kinds of shit in there. Like on that same like I've only gotten to kind of peek in a little bit of that stuff because I'm actually trying to accomplish things, but of course I can't resist doing a little bit. And like
Right.
there's an entire top row that's just nothing but like those old Mad paperbacks and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
It's just like goes for like, I look, oh, that's a bunch, and then I see it's like going like just feet, like it's just going forever. So yeah, I'm hoping to find lots of treasures in there that haven't been seen by anyone for a long time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the things too is I'm sure they're going to have like, for the European artists that they had doing the Eros titles, I'm sure they'll have a bunch of their European stuff, like their Italian or French or wherever they were coming from. I'm sure they'll have some of their original books too, as kind of where they caught wind of these creators and where they first discovered them. So that'll be kind of exciting too.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, I mean, when I was kind of shuffling those books, I wasn't taking as much time to look at them as I could have. Yep. Mostly because if I could read them, I would have taken a lot of time, but I can't. Yep. So I was whatever. No. But you'll come across some artists like Inky Bilal, and it's like 10 inches of books, like there's a bunch of stuff we don't have. And so it's just stuff like that. You'll see some artist and you go, oh, I recognize this artist. And then it's like a bunch of books you've never heard of.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Which is
hello, John Clare. I love Sushi more now. Galaxy Manifesto, do they sell a lot of these type of comics, or is underground comics hard to find? I mean, it really depends on where you're hunting. I don't see a ton of underground comics here in Winnipeg. I have on occasion, but when I find them, it's usually kind of the standard fare. Like, I'll always see Freak Brothers and I'll always see like rip-off press stuff. But some of the more obscure undergrounds, it's not every day that I find them. Like I'll see like Slow Death and things, but you don't see a lot of them. When I've traveled around Canada, like in Vancouver, there was a couple of shops that had a really good collection of underground comics. And in Toronto, when I went to the T-Dot in the basement of whatever the shop is that I'm blanking on right now, they had a couple of boxes filled with undergrounds and a whole bunch of shit, stuff I've never seen before, which was really fantastic. But then it's also priced like that as well too. So
that's the problem.
Yeah.
When I was in Columbus last year, there was one booth that is just like a local. I don't even think they're a business. It's just a guy who's been around forever and used to have a shop. Used to have kind of a counterculture, head shop type thing. And he had shit tons of grounds, including a lot of stuff that I'd never heard of. And I bought what I could, I mean, there's a certain point where you just kind of have to go, okay, I just can't buy all this shit. So I would just make some choices and leave things behind. But but yeah, it's so amazing when you see someone who's got a nice deep vein of that, because you're right. I see the Freak Brothers, you'll see, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, but some ones that sold really big. You'll see some Cherry Pop-Tarts, that kind of stuff. But
Zap Comics,
have you read, Zap. Yeah. Have you read Cherry Pop-Tart at all?
I've got one collection. I don't have any of the single issues because honestly, Cherry Pop-Tart has never been one that has super interested me. So I have one kind of thinner graphic novel collection, and that's it. And I've read bits and pieces, but I've never read it all.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were any collections. Really interesting to me. It's also not really appealed to me, though. I was very tempted by that like almost complete run they had at the shop. But I'm always wondered why that stuff isn't collected. It seems like it's one of the most popular undergrounds. And
absolutely, it should have a big like hardcover. Here's the omnibus Cherry Pop-Tart. You may as well cash in. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
Everybody else is. So
yeah, absolutely.
Do you know this book? Betty being dad?
I mean, I feel like I know the image, but I don't. I might have seen it in one of the ads, but I don't have that one.
Yeah, it's also from Eros.
Okay.
And this is was put together by John Workman, the letterer. He letters all of Walt Simonson stuff, and
right.
He's a good cartoonist himself. So basically, this is sort of an odd one. It's text. It's basically just him talking about him encountering Betty Page, and then it's interspersed with photos of Betty Page. So it's just kind of like a little mini memoir. So kind of an oddity. I don't remember Eros doing anything else like this that I've seen.
No.
And like here she is with a couple like cheetahs or something. And I heard about this from Chris Pitzer, the publisher of S. He just mentioned he's a huge John Workman fan, so I think he tracked this down. And so, but yeah, it's a bit of an oddity. I'm not a huge Betty Page fan, but I like that this is an oddball book. And then on the back, there's an ad for Dave Stevens,
of course,
Betty Page shirt and statue. Which
of course,
pretty good synchronicity, pretty good ad revenue stuff from Fantagraphics at the time.
Yeah,
to get them on the phone and say, hey, you guys want to put an ad here for this thing that 10 people will buy probably. So anyway, I wish it was cartooning, of course, but thought it was kind of a cool oddity.
Well, and I think like Betty Page was, for a long time, just the name that you could cash in on. You just put her image on it and people were buying it. I knew some people that through work that were huge and women and men that were huge Betty Page fans, that anything that even had a mention of her. This one woman I knew in the makeup department many, many years ago, she grabbed everything that was Betty Page related, so it was a real easy sell, I think, for a time.
I think is it Dynamite is still publishing Betty Page comics. So
is that true? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see them in the catalog every month, and it's one of those many things where I go, "Who's buying this shit still?" Like, not saying they're bad. They might be okay, but just like you're right, like they're just relying on the name completely. Like
totally.
They could put any brunette in there, and it really wouldn't make a difference. But
that's
Betty
right.
Page, so.
Yeah, totally. Here's this cherry collection here.
There you go.
I pulled it off the shelf there. So just kind of a thin, collection. It's from 1990. Got some like ads on the back here as well.
Sure.
And then it does a layout inside of let's see. So it shows their table of contents, all the stories that it collects. So, 132 pages kind of thing. I mean, it's decent. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. I've just never really been a huge Cherry Pop-Tart fan, but this is the only one that I've seen. It says volume 1 on it from Last Gasp, but I've never seen another volume of it. So I don't know if they did more.
I've never seen that at all. I would definitely pick that up if I saw it. So
yeah, from what I remember, it was much cheaper than the single issues, because the few times I do find the early issues, especially like 1, it's always just I just don't want to. I'd rather spend the money on something else because they're asking for quite a bit.
Sure. No, I agree with you. That's the Betty Page is what he's referring to there.
Yep. Yeah. Hello, Forgerelli.
Dynamite does that on every comic, so it's not just poor Betty Page who's being.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Here's one. I'll just show one of these.
Whoops. Sorry, I think I muted you. Try that again.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. This is an interesting series. I don't know if you've ever seen these. Casanova.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And these, speaking of hard to find, I'm missing one issue 5.
Oh, shit.
And I don't think I'm ever going to find it unless I'm just incredibly lucky,
Right.
The issue has a black and white cover, which is kind of strange. But this is from late era Aircel, when they started to publish smut. Oh, so here we go. This has a black and white that's censored for display, and then they have a color cover.
Color inside.
So pretty nice cover. And this is by Ricard.
Yeah, they did a few Ricard things, I think, because in that Aircel stuff, that stack of Aircel that I had, I know there was a couple of books there that were Ricard doing the art.
Yeah, and I like it. You know, it's nothing really flashy, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but it's solid. But mostly, I would like to get the missing issue just because I'm missing it.
Yeah, totally. Well, I just looked,
it was already amazing to get what I got.
The one that I have is issue number 8, unfortunately, so I don't have number 5. Otherwise, I'd send it to you.
So I was mostly putting that up as just a curiosity. They, a lot of them have these, you know, false covers, and then, but pretty nice, like painted covers. Yeah, Scott Connor's right. Barry Blair basically was Aircel.
Yeah,
and then he had a lot of talented people he knew, so he was able to get some pretty good looking stuff published. Besides him, but
amazing.
He was actually a pretty talented artist.
The one that I have doesn't have that cover. It just goes to the, unless somebody took it off or something. Do they have them for every issue or just for a couple of them?
This one doesn't. This one
has
okay. You know, so I think there might have been 2 versions they put out. I think, and I want to say Aircel might have done that regularly. It's kind of a dirty version and a clean version.
That would make sense.
Yeah, but it's crazy because it makes you wonder, what were the print runs on these? Like, they're probably decent, and yet you can never find this shit, which I know we've talked about with Eros. You know, it's like they're keeping Fantagraphics alive, and how come I can't find them anywhere? You know,
that's right. Well, because all of those guys got married and then they just burned their comics or threw them in the garbage. All this smut, they threw it away.
That is as good a theory as any, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Do you know this comic Inferno? So in Aircel?
No, I haven't seen that one. That's a great cover, though.
It is. I'll show you the covers here real fast, and then I'll flip through one.
Oh, shit. Look at that.
All the covers are red. Yeah. Here's, you know, pretty nice looking stuff.
What the fuck, man? Yeah.
Yeah, right? And it's European. It's one of those things where they all stories created by Watson Portello, and it has the, you know, the margins at the top, so you know it was European originally, you know. But really clean, nice looking stuff. Yeah, and then like here's a Western comic that doesn't even really list. And maybe it's not. Maybe just the stories are by Watson Portello. It doesn't give any other credits, though. It just says the only other credits are for lettering. So whoever put the English lettering in. So I don't know. This is one of those cases where I think they're selling something as kind of smut or something, and it's actually not. It's sort of like decent, you know. Pretty good work. But you know, I thought you would dig those if you hadn't seen them before.
Yeah, those covers are stellar.
Yeah, that first issue cover is great.
Love it.
Yeah. So, okay. Then I have a couple books here.
Yeah,
one's the Covenant of Hell. Or
yes, you got it.
You got this
fucking guy. No, I've read it digitally. It's amazing.
Oh,
I love that book.
Yeah, the art in this thing is just unbelievably good.
And I think it's the director Gaspar Noé who did the writing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see something funny? I probably bought this from the Fantagraphics bookstore, but
please return to library.
Yeah, they probably purged it at some point. We're like, we don't need this anymore. But I mean, just gorgeous looking stuff.
It's great. Yeah, that's one that's high on my list to find a copy of. That's great.
Yeah, and I have no idea. Like I said, I think I found it sort of randomly at a sale. So I had no idea if it's hard to find or not. It's from Amerotica, which is an MBM imprint. So you would think there would be copies floating around, but who the hell knows? How about this one here? The Best of Fever Pitch.
No, but is that like Silky or one of those guys, or who's the artist on that one?
It's not. It's something Freeman.
Oh, okay.
Who I'm not familiar with. But the reason I would have bought it anyway, just based on the cover. But the reason I got it was because of all this art in here by Brad Foster.
Okay.
Do you know him?
I know the name. You may have mentioned him before.
Maybe so. I could have sworn I heard you mention him too. So,
that could, yeah.
But he has a really interesting style.
Right.
Yeah, lots of like, stippling and
right. I wonder if he's the guy that did the Vortex or the Renegade mech things or whatever it is called.
Yes.
Okay. That's it. All right. Now I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and he did. This is from Jabberwocky Graphics.
Yeah.
Which was his company.
Oh, okay.
And it put out basically kind of almost like really small press stuff once upon a time, and but I just really like his style. I mean,
yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you mixed Someone Slick with Matt Howarth, where it just has this really rigorous part of it, but then it also just, check out this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, this was just something I came across. It's just a collection. There's other artists in here, but the Brad Foster was the standout for me. And his stuff just really hard to find. Like I just don't think there's a lot of it,
Right.
So not necessarily that it's super collectible, but just that it's who knows how many copies were printed of any of this stuff. Yeah, that's a good good thing. Virgil Finlay and Matt Howarth.
Yeah.
So our former comrade in arms, Sitrat, he had that video that you put up somewhere. His best reads of 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched that. Thank you for putting that up, by the way, so that I could find him in his current incarnation. But so these are Chica Volume 1 and 2, and the art is by Jordi Bernay. He did Torpedo.
Yes.
AFPC, what's that?
Hello, AFPC.
So I don't know if you've read any of this stuff. Have you ever read Jordi Bernay or any
just a bit of torpedo. But and I think I might have I think he did a solo, like the DC solo. I think I have that as too.
He did, and that's a really great one too. So this is him doing kind of more adult material. And then this is Erotica, which I believe is also an MBM imprint. But he's just such a great cartoonist.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. So
one of those guys again that's like instantly recognizable by especially like his women's faces and stuff. Very recognizable.
Totally agree. So anyway, just this is one of those where you stumble across and the cartooning's so good that it's just sort of unbelievable that's even happening.
Yeah.
And I think in that video, John said, he was very surprised how much he enjoyed reading it. And that's definitely true. Like it's way better than it has any right to be, which I know I've already said, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, and those are nice looking copies too, glossy, and they look brand spanking new.
They are. I got them from some website. I want to say SQP.
Okay.
Do you know them?
No, I don't. No.
You should check out their website. I think it's like Sal Cortino Publications or something like that.
Okay.
But SQP. But most of their stuff is sort of pinup books, like some artist, and it's a whole book of just drawings of women.
Okay.
But they do have comics, and I got those from there during a sale. And the good thing is, sign up for an email list because they do sales like every 5 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
So I think I got those for 50% off in some sale, along with a couple of other books that aren't as impressive. Yes, Sitrat.
He sure is.
He sure is.
Not in that incarnation, but under another name, which I'm blanking on right now.
Yeah. AFPC. I'll try to track it down and send it to you. I know you were an admirer. So, so the last couple of things I have here are a couple cool anthologies from the same company. This one is called Pleasurable Passages. This is one of my favorite covers I've ever seen, I think. I just think it's fantastic. Not even sure who the artist is. Beltran. Does not strike my memory. So, well, speaking of Sitrat, the first picture is by Denis Sire. Denis Sire, not sure how you say his name, but he has shown off some stuff by him before.
Okay.
I think he did I think he showed off like a race car comic or something, but really good French cartoonist.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Right. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. So
beautiful layout. Look at that, man.
I know this guy can draw his ass off. And sorry, let me refer back and find you. So here's an odd one too. Bernie Moreau is in here. Doing his thing.
Yeah.
So
oh yeah.
Right. So it looks nice though.
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. Like much simpler style, obviously, but pretty
nice
pretty
contrast to the other stuff.
And then let's see. Oh yeah, here's the one I wanted to show you though, for sure. Okay. So story by Matt Howarth.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Way Rider.
He really did show up just anywhere and everywhere once upon a time, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it's really nice. His art looks great at this size, you know? And this panel here at the bottom, really sharp, you know?
Really good.
Yeah. So, like it looks like nobody else but Howarth, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have his Eros comic that he did? Tricks.
No, what's it called again? Sorry.
Tricks.
No, I don't.
XX. I feel like that one's one of the easiest to find.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have seen it many times. And it's it's in a collection as well as the single issues.
Yeah.
But, and then the last thing from this issue is there's a color story here by Loisel. He did Roxana. Do you know that series at all?
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, it was published by one of those companies that's like Catalan, but it's not Catalan. And then he also did a big Peter Pan book, which was published here a few years ago in a hardcover.
Yes.
I haven't read that, but really good art.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So nice color middle. And then the last thing is that other anthology. It's the same company. These are both by Diva Graphics.
Okay.
Naughty but Nice.
Naughty but Nice.
Let's see who we got. Oh shit! Here you go. This is what I wanted to show you. Your guy, Rick McCallum.
Hey, shut up, man. Oh boy.
Thought you would like that.
Love it. Making a note right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And I'll be honest, I cannot remember where the hell I got these books from.
Yeah.
So I either found them in a used bookstore somewhere or I saw them on YouTube or something. But like his story this looks really good, you know. And I'm not really sure. I don't know if you know more, but do you know why he didn't go on to do more? Like,
I think like a lot of guys, he started getting gigs in other areas too, right? Like he just wasn't getting any success doing his own titles. It just wasn't kind of getting anywhere for him. I've talked about it before, and same with Russ Works, as mentioned it. There's a good blog about him as well too. That's worth checking out. I'll find the link and I can send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because this stuff is really solid, and
yep.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, this is like a 16-page story, but so pretty substantial.
That's excellent.
Here's another story by that Denise Seray. Just really, really sharp looking stuff. Let's see who else is in here that yeah, mostly Europeans. Let's see if there's a color section here. It's been a long time. Oh yeah, there is. So nice, Euro comic stuff.
Classic.
But nothing. I mean, the other one I think is kind of the winner. But having the McCollum story in here, I thought you would.
Oh yeah, so. That's on the list. I'll be hunting for it after the stream's over.
Yeah. So, and then
what was the company again? Did you say?
It's Diva Graphics, and that's with an X, not a C.
Of course it is. Yeah.
At the end. Yeah, and let's see what year these are from. It says it was published in New York.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not even seeing a year on it anywhere, of course. It's crazy. I mean, and like the cover price on this is like $26, for a pretty thin little hardcover. So
yeah.
But you could obviously charge more for smut.
Yeah, you're paying for the X in graphics. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, no year on the other one either. So, but I mean, just judging by the people that are in it, it's the early 90s, mid 90s maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and that first one I showed you real fast. It's Philip Kaza has his art.
I love Kaza.
Yeah, so it's a nice color piece by him. So, so yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I thought you'd dig those. Cool. Couple of familiar artists mixed in with some nice Euros.
It's happening on my end too. AFPC a little bit. Colin has been kind of freezing just a tiny bit, so that's probably what you're seeing. Just some connection issues at this time of night on a Thursday. Hopefully, it's working now though.
Sure, you were doing that with me. But yeah, that's it pretty much. So, living on the edge.
That's a great stack of stuff. So the shop that you were talking about, the shop where you're getting a lot of these stuff, or some of the earlier stuff anyway, I imagine they have the same issue that I find, like they just don't know what to do with this stuff. Hey, they keep it in the back room because they don't know where to get rid of it.
So that live stream that I did that got me in trouble.
Yep.
I think almost all of those comics I paid like $3 a piece.
Right.
So, and a lot of them were just, I don't know what this is. So how about $3, And then I had to pay a little bit more for the Dave Coopers and that kind of stuff. But all the Euro stuff, like he couldn't find listings anywhere for anything.
No.
So for once it went in my favor of it being obscure, But yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, people want this stuff, but it's like it shoved under the counter like it's the 50s, so it kind of makes it hard for them to move it, I think, unless they just know somebody wants that stuff. So I guess now they know I want it. So yeah.
I think some of it probably appears in the underground price guide, I'm guessing. I might take a look later just to see if there's any Eros titles in there. But I'm thinking that even if there is, it's probably some of like the big names, you know what I mean? Like the Frazetta stuff that Eros did, and the Canon books and stuff that's probably in there or whatever. So I doubt everything is in there, you know, like the Matt Howarths and things like that, right? So
which to me that's like the least interesting stuff. But
yeah, same with me.
I know that's kind of the most sellable probably, but
yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of the Canon comics. I've sat and I've had every intention. No, I finally put them away. They were sitting here on my rack for the longest time because I had every intention of reading them, and I just would pick them up and open them up, and then I just start reading something else. You know, I just never got into it. Hello, Gore Vidal.
Hello.
That's excellent. So, I mean, you know, when you go back to get another stack, make sure that you let me know, and maybe make them an offer on the whole damn box. Hey, let me take this off your hands for a fine price.
I know. I think they're too slick for that, unfortunately. So
yeah.
You know, they do a pretty robust online business and stuff. So they're used to just digging and pricing if they have to, you know. So
yeah.
I think it's how they stayed alive during the pandemic, you know. But
as a comic guy, you got to be online.
Yeah. And I mean, and they don't even have back issues in the shop anymore. They, you know, maybe a box or two of just whatever, and they have stuff on the wall, you know, the usual suspects of anything they find that's worth some money, but yeah, they don't have boxes to dig through, unfortunately. So
oh wow.
They keep that kind of in storage, and I think it's just an eBay thing, you know. So but yeah,
a comic shop without back issues in the store, hey, that's unusual.
But I feel like it's not as unusual as it used to be.
Really? Hey,
so,
wow.
Yeah. There's really nowhere in that area that has like dollar bins, or you know, there just aren't. There's nothing like that anymore, which I mean makes sense because the real estate, the rents are so high that, you know, they can make more money selling toys and graphic novels and Funko Pops and that kind of shit. So you know, they do what they got to do, you know. It's
of course
part of it, how it goes. But it's nice to go track down a store that has tons and tons of boxes and just go and see what they have. So I saw recently online a picture of Damien and a couple of other guys at a store that's not too far from me, actually. So that I wasn't aware of. So I'm gonna go hopefully check that out in the next week or two.
And that was filled with back issues, I imagine.
Yeah, it looked like it. It would look like a pretty big shop.
Cool.
And it's a city that's maybe 30 or 40 minutes from me. So I'm just gonna take the drive and go and explore, see what happens. So worst scenario, I waste some of my time, which I've done many times in the name of comics. So
yeah, that's right. Well, I was just going to say, it's never a waste if you can go and look through some boxes of books that you haven't seen before. That's always bound to yield a couple of good results. Yeah,
for sure.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Colin, for joining us, for joining me. Keep in touch. We'll do this again. And I'm assuming everybody here knows, but if you don't know, Colin does Comic Book Manifesto. I'll make sure that I go back and put a link in for anybody watching in the future. Any of you filthy animals watching in the future, you can go to his channel and see some nice family-friendly stuff instead of this filthy, booby-ridden comics. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Gore Vidal, Scott Connor, Chaos and Comics, AFPC, of course, Forgerelli, John Clare. Nice to see you all. And we'll see you on Sunday for the chat. I think the chat this Sunday is on my channel. And hopefully I get more read before that time comes. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Later.